part 2 of the video tutorial on how to create formative assessments using Google Forms and Flubaroo. In the first video, we looked at how to create a Google form and send it out to your students. And in this video, we're going to look at the data that comes back and how to grade the quizzes using a tool called Flubaroo. So first things first, here where we left off before, here's the form that we were sending out, the vocabulary quiz, and we edited using this questions part. And if you click over here to responses, you can see the responses. And I look here, I see treacherous. 78% of my students got that one as an adjective. Some, almost 10%, put it as a verb, and 25% listed it as a noun. So this might be something that I would look at. There are a decent amount of students who labeled it as a noun, so we might review that as a class. I even might put this up on the board and show them. Crevice, 94% about picked it as a noun, a couple picked it as a verb, one picked it as an adjective. Again, still pretty good. I might maybe want to zoom in for these few students. Recede, I'm pretty comfortable with. Not going to spend too much time on that. And snarl. This is an interesting one because you can snarl, and you can, a snarl can be something that an animal does. So these are actually both right. So we have some people probably marked both as verb and noun. Some people mark just verb, and depending on how strict you want to be, you can say, okay, I'll give you credit as long as you got verb, or you could say I'm only going to give you credit if you got both. My standard is that if it's the same definition with two different parts of speech, I want them to list both, but they're learning a lot of words, so as long as they get the primary one, I'm usually going to still give them credit. So that's what these bar graphs give you. I find that to be pretty helpful. And then as we scroll down, these are the ones that they just filled in the blank, so I can see the list of all the responses here. Almost everyone picked native for this one. I see one person put precise. To be composed of, again, most of them picked consist. A couple people picked debris. And again, these are somewhat useful. My favorite though are the ones that I get from my multiple choice questions. Again, these were check boxes. So since they can pick more than one option, the same person might show up a couple times, and Google does this sideways bar graph. But when you have a multiple choice, they create a pie graph, which I find to be very cool, and the kids really get it. If I put this up on the board, like, whoa, 93.5% of people knew that it was incorrect to, gather debris to use for dinner. It might be the right part of speech. Technically, it could be correct, but almost everybody recognized that we don't want to be eating debris. Treacherous brother, always helping with the dishes. Most of them got that, but a few of them, maybe weren't sure about the meaning, so they got that one wrong. So this is another cool feature I like, to be able to just get an overview for the class. And I might not spend too much time on this one, but maybe because it's a quarter of the class, spend a little bit more time on it who got this one wrong. This one, actually more people, please recede the curtains, and you can understand why. This is a finer point, that you could imagine curtains receding, though it's not used that way. You don't recede the curtains as an action. So that we might talk about, a finer point, maybe even transitive verbs or something like that. So those are just some ways that you can use the results. If you do a paper quiz, you're mostly going to just get a percentage for each student and give them a grade. You're not always going to get this kind of data that breaks down how everyone did on each question. That gives me a better understanding of what we need to work on more, just by gathering all the data and presenting it in a way that's easy to read. Now, another thing that I like about Google Forms is the option to look at all the detailed examples. And if I go to my responses, there's this little green check up here, And if I click that, it will open up a Google Sheet with which includes all the responses. So I can see here we have a lot of presidents who answered. I could see, obviously what I want to see exactly who answered what. Just seeing the summary isn't enough. I have to give them a grade. And here I see all, but this is a little bit overwhelming to go question by question. What I really like is this add-on called Flubaroo. Now, it might not show up in your add-ons menu when you go there. And so what you would do is go to Get Add-ons. And if you go to Get Add-ons, type in Flubaroo. As you can see here, Google tends to learn what you like. It knows that we like this at my school, so it shows up right at the top. If it doesn't for you, just type it into the search add-ons, Flubaroo, and then it'll show up and do add-ons. I go to Flubaroo, and I've already graded this assignment, but if I hadn't, I would go to grade assignment. And when I do that, it will, let's regrade it. Okay, yes, replace my existing grades. So it's going to come to step 1, and it does a really good job of categorizing all the questions, normal grading, everything's 1 point, but of course you can change it if you want. And it knows that username and last name identify the student, so it's not going to grade those. Let's go to the next option. Then it's going to ask me which one to use as a key, okay? And again, it knows the one that I called key is the right one. Now, I create this key by simply completing the form myself. So just like to create a key for a quiz, you complete the quiz with all the right answers, I complete the form with all the right answers, and I put my name in as key, and then I use that to grade it, and then click the button, and voila, it's grading it for me. So this saves me so much time. Probably, at least an hour to an hour and a half per week, I'd say. And that's just, I pretty much use this for vocabulary quizzes. Occasionally we'll use it for something else. But let's see what's generated. So we see, President Johnson did really well. I got a 96. Obama, unfortunately, and Lincoln, come on guys, they're highlighted in red because they didn't do so well. The other thing it tells me is a question that most people didn't do well on. So for this one, talk indistinctly, usually in a low voice, that was something that a lot of them missed. And this one about my brother and I being troublemakers, a lot of them missed that. We can see that only 50% got that one correct. So kind of like the tools that I went over with Google, it's a quick way to highlight questions that we might want to address a little bit more as a class. It shows me my total possible points was 25, the average was 21.14, 14 submissions were counted, and 2 questions were low scoring. And again, I can go over and look at the detail for each one. I can also go down and share the grades. Okay, so how do we know it's basically asking what's the email address question, and it figures it out. Username, this is when we automatically collect respondents' usernames. That's a great feature. It collects their emails, and then we can email them their grades. I can share it via email or via Google Drive if I want. I can include the list of questions. I include the answer key. Some people might choose to keep that private, but I don't mind. And I can include an option if I want, continue, and then it'll tell me that all my grades have been sent out. Okay, these are all going to get sent back because it got sent to no1@test.com. I had to remove everybody's real names. But, I can also look back and say, 93% got Smolder right. Let's go back and look at Smolder. Okay, why did this person said it was a noun, a Smolder, so, and that person is Obama, so, let's check up and make sure he gets that. This person thought it could be a verb and an adjective. So again, might be, sometimes you just pick the one where if it seems like a lot of people got it right, the few people who didn't, you can target that. Or if one where it seems like a lot of people got it wrong, you might target that one for a whole class. And you can also think about it as a way to help you with your groupings. So I hope this will save you some time. I hope you give it a try. The first time I created a form, I was a little confused by it, but once I sent them out a couple times, I got really comfortable with it. And if you put in a few hours up front, it'll save you a lot of time in the end. So again, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter if you have any more questions, at EdTechJeff. I'd love to hear from you, and thank you for watching.